Hello to all of you. Our today's topic is resources. Now, what is the resources? If we see the definition of resources, then it is that resources, all the materials around us which satisfied our need is called a resource. Now, resources resources, they are technologically accessible. We can use these resources थ्रू टेक्नोलॉजी और उसके थ्रू हम लोग नए नए रिसोर्सेज का यूज और नई टेक्नोलॉजी से करते चलते हैं. Resources are also economically feasible. Economically, these resources are feasible. And the third or the main thing is that these resources are also culturally acceptable. Now, how they are culturally acceptable? In the world, we can see some example through which we can say that if a culture accept anything, then that become a resource. Let us take the example of Punjab. Here in Punjab, there is a very good climate or conditions of tobacco production, but they are not producing tobacco. The reason is that tobacco is prohibited in their culture, in their Guru Granth Sahib. On the other hand, if we see the example of Northeast, then here also there is a very good climate of cattle productions, milk production. A large number of grasses are available there, pasture lands are there, but even then, and the main thing is that peoples of these areas are also they have a lot of animals also, cattle हैं, buffaloes हैं, but they are not producing milk because it is prohibited in their culture, as it is prohibited in Punjab, as tobacco is prohibited in Punjab. So we can say that our resources also must be culturally acceptable also. If we see the simple definition of resources in the simplest manner is that our resources must have three things. First thing, anything which we need. For example, here at present, to complete our study, we need a teacher. For that, second thing is utilization, and for that we are using that teacher. And the third thing is value. There is some value of that teacher. His salary is value, or the fees we are paying is the value. Now, value is also of two types. The one is worth in rupees, and the second one is the importance. Like trees are important for us, we need oxygen. For that we are using the air which trees are giving us, and that is the importance of trees. We are not giving them any rupees for that. So in a simplest manner, anything which we need around us and we are using that thing and there is a value of that thing is a resource. Now let us classify resources on different bases. Let us take the first classification, that is on the base of its origin. On the basis of origin, the resources are, we can classify resources on two types. The first one is biotic and the second one is abiotic. The word biotic itself clear, bio means life. So all the living things are biotic resources. Here the examples of biotic resources are flora, fauna, etc. Second one is abiotic resources. It is just opposite of biotic resources, means all the living things, non-living things are abiotic resources. Examples are like iron, metals, fossil fuels, etc. They all are abiotic resources. Now let us classify second classification of resources on the basis of its exhaustibility. On the basis of its exhaustibility, we can classify resources on two types. First is renewable resources and the second one is non-renewable resources. Now renewable resources means all the resources which can be renewed or which can themselves replenish themselves are called renewable resources. For examples like water, soil, etc. They all are renewable resources. Now non-renewable resources. If we see non-renewable resources, then non-renewable resources are also of two types. The first one is recyclable, means resources which can be recycled. Non-renewable resources means resources. The resources are also renewable resources actually, but for that they take a long geographical periods, means millions and trillions of years. Examples are fossil fuels, etc. Now these are also of two types. The first one is recyclable resources. Here recyclable resources are like, for example, let us take the example of iron. We are using a table of iron. It is, if because of its one legs broke down, then we cannot throw it to the garbage. Instead of that, we can again smelt this iron and make it a sheet, iron sheet, and through this we can again make a iron table. So we can recycle this iron non-renewable resources. On other hand, the second types of non-renewable recyclable are the non-recyclable resources, means these resources once used cannot use again. Let us take the example of coal here. The main purpose of coal is to use it as a fuel, or we are using for burning purpose. Now if we once burn this coal, we cannot use it again for burning purpose. Here we can use the ashes of coal for different purposes, like for making bricks, etc., but we cannot use coal again for burning purpose. So here we can say that this is an example of non-recyclable, non-renewable resources. Now let us come to the third basis, that is on the basis of ownership. On the basis of ownership, we can say resources are of, first is individual resource, means like our house, our home, house, our plot, pen, clothes, etc. These all are our individual resources because we are the owner. A particular person is the owner of these resources. The second is community resources. Here, a group of people, a group of persons are the owner of these resources. We can take the examples of school, park, hospital, cinema halls, etc. These all are community resources. No one particular person is a owner of these resources. The next one is national resources. Here both these resources come individual and community, means all the resources which are under which comes under the boundary of country plus 12 nautical miles, that is 9.2 kilometer from sea coast. The third type of resources is international resources. International resources. In international resources, all resources which are above 200 kilometer from the coastline of any country. 200 kilometer far from above from the coastline of any country comes international resources. Here any country comes and use those resources, depends on first come first serve. These resources are called individual resources. Basically these resources are found in the oceans which are above 200 kilometers from the sea coastline of any country, and in universe, the space area of universe. Now let us come to type of resources that we classified on the basis of its status development. Status of development. Here first one is potential resources. Potential resources means resources which are surveyed, we know their quality, we know their quantity, but we are not using them. They have the potentiality to fulfill our needs, but we are not using their full potentiality. These resources are called potential resources. For example, the solar energy of Rajasthan and Gujarat. We can produce a lot of solar energy from Rajasthan and Gujarat, but we are not producing it. But the area has a potentiality to produce this much of energy. This is called a potential resources. Next is developed resources, means resources which are surveyed, we know their quantity, we know their quality. These resources are called developed resources, or in a simplest manner the thing which we are using is a developed resources. We know where these resources are found, how much quantity they have, how much, what is the quality of these resources have. Now the third type is stock resources. So these types of resources are called stock resources. For example, the hydrogen, or like for example water. In water there is one atom of hydrogen and two atoms of oxygen. Similarly, there are many minerals found in moon, and in near future we can use those minerals for producing energy, but presently they all are stocked. The next one type of resources is reserved resources. Here we know these resources, we know their quality, we know their quantity, and if we want we can use these resources, but presently we are not using these resources. We keep these resources for the future generations. These resources are called reserved resources. For example, in world, the huge coal reserve of Antarctica comes in it. The process of transformations of things available in environment involves an interdependent relationships. It has an interdependent relationship between nature, technology, and institution. Human skill. Through human skill, using these natural resources with the help of technology and institution. This is how we can get resources. Here the question comes is that are resources a free gift of nature? The answer is no. Resources are not a free gifts of nature. We the human beings create these resources with the help of technology, and it is our demands which makes things which is available in the environment are resources. So in the last, let us take, so what are the importance of resources? First thing is that these resources are the backbone of any country's economy. From a needle to a spacecraft, each and everything is made of resources. Directly or indirectly, each and everything is made of resources. So it is a backbone of any country's economy. Obviously, if they are backbone of the country's economy, then they are also helpful for the economic strength of the country. Through this, a person can create their own world. Now let us see the characteristics of resources. If we see the characteristics, the first is they have the utility. You can use these resources. Second thing, available in limited quantity. The third thing is that these resources are helpful to create goods and services. The last point here is utility changes with the improvement. Fourth point is utility changes with the improvement of technology. That's all for today.